Go for it.
Mr. Reader, it's 5:15. Would you like to start?
Well, I was just wondering, I took a shower this week and everything, and you're setting Claude down in there?
Well, I didn't know for sure. I
Okay.
hadn't been advised of your grooming practices
That's true.
yet.
That's true. Okay, well, let's go ahead and.
All right.
have this meeting.
Thank you all for being here, especially timing-wise. It just worked out this month. I know that 5:15 on the Tuesday night before Thanksgiving break is probably not the ideal time, but thank you for being here. We don't have a lot of things to talk about tonight, but we'll move through those. First one we have is the October financials. Talk just a little bit about where we were, and if you'll remember, these are actually our numbers at the end of September, the way timing falls here a little bit. But we were, our expenditures were at 24% of the budget at that point, which at the end of September we're 25% through the year. So timing-wise, that's where we would, pretty close to where we'd like to be. Some things that our state revenues are down just slightly, 17,000, but our tax revenues are up 2.4 million, so we're in good shape there. Expenditures were up 4.97 million. Some of the areas I'll point out that are probably the higher areas on that, and one we knew was going to be is salary and benefits. That's about 1.12 million that were up this year. Some other areas are some ESSER things that are still coming in. The Hilliard expansion, that's a $735,000 additional expense to that point that we did not have last year, and that's ESSER money there. Also, some ELC improvements, $709,000. Some of that is going to be ESSER reimbursed as well. Maintenance supplies are up quite a bit this year, and we think a lot of that has to do with that during COVID, there was a lot of money to get a lot of maintenance supplies, and so we had kind of a store, and we have now depleted that store a little bit, so we're having to purchase things again. So grow your own scholarships, those things account for about for $542,000, and then some additional leases this year. Our copiers leases, some vehicle leases, and some computer leases. That accounts for $499,000 in additional expenses this year. So those are the larger areas that are contributing to some of those additional expenditures. So that's kind of the monthly financials. I'll talk a little bit about the healthcare trust. The healthcare trust at the end of September, if you include the just slightly over $2 million we have in investments, sitting right at about $4.9 million, which in September of 22 we were at $4.96 million, so we're hanging very steady there. Looking at within the medical plan, at the end of September, our plan was running at a funding ratio of 92.1%. So just so that you know that as long as we're below 100%, 100% is the break-even point. So anytime the fund runs below that, that's good. So we have a surplus of $298,000 this year. The EPO continues to run at a deficit. It's running at 138% with a deficit of $362,000. But the PPO and the HSA are both running very good. The PPO at 94%, and the HSA is really running very well at this point with a ratio of 64%. So those two are absolutely subsidizing what any kind of loss that we're having in the EPO. And there's been discussion about looking at discontinuing the EPO at some point because of the fact that it is having to be subsidized a little bit. So Lockton actually ran some numbers for us, and although it sounds counterproductive, it actually would be cost prohibitive for us to remove it at this time from an actuarial standpoint because of the employees paying into it. Even though right now it's funded at a loss, they said if you look at it from a long-term actuarial standpoint, it makes sense to leave it in at this point. So we'll continue to monitor it. It's not dragging the other two down so much that it's not sustainable at this point. But so right now, that's probably not something that will come back through the insurance committee this year because We've had them look at it and says, yeah, right now it doesn't make sense to do it. So we'll continue to keep an eye on those things. So that's everything with the October financials. Does anybody have any questions or concerns about any of that? Any more explanations that they would like? Yes, sir.
Yeah, Robert, when you broke that down, it's $400 and some thousand for, was that just the printer cost, or was that printer cost thrown in there?
That is the combination of all of those additional leases this year. So the copiers are within that. Some of that is, and again, additional from last year. The copiers are not up that much. They're up a little bit. But really, the majority of that is we got some new computers that are on lease purchase. That's the biggest piece of that. And then some additional vehicle leases that we've gone into also.
Yeah, I knew about the vehicles being added and stuff like that. The printer cost of that, is this an all-year cost, or is this your quarterly report on that?
This is where we are in comparison to last year at this time.
Oh, okay.
So that area of leases, we're up, what did I say, 499,000, I think I said? Yeah, 499,000. The lease, those all things that go into that additional lease cost. Really, the copiers are not more expensive because we're on a contract on those.
Right.
That's a fixed amount, but they fall into that category of leases. And so the category of leases is where we're up about 499,000, but the big chunk majority of that is some lease purchase we're doing with some computers.
Is any idea, well, so what is the, I guess, what's the yearly cost on our printer contract, approximately? Within $1 million or two?
Is it 495? 495,000.
Okay, that's the number I'd heard before.
It's 406.
406, okay, somewhere between 400,000 and 500,000.
Yeah, that's what I'd heard too, I just wondered if that was the same. That's for the whole year though, right?
Yeah.
What's the name of the company?
Pro
Pro
Service.
Service, yes.
Okay.
I started to say Serve Pro, I get Pro Service.
I know, me too, that's why I wanted to hear
And
you
you don't
guys
want them
say it.
showing up to clean your copier.
I know.
Yes,
Oh, you got flood damage, sir?
that's right.
You have a
that's right.
fire here? So, okay, and we bid that, don't we?
Yes.
How often do we bid that?
That is up, that contract runs through next fiscal year, I believe, and so it will be up for bid. I can double check that, but I think it's up for bid in the spring of '25.
5-year contract.
Yeah, it was a
That's why I was
5-year.
wondering how, that was the next question.
Yeah, it was-
Speed
yeah.
4 or 5 or whatever,
The
5.
initial was a 5-year, so it'll be up for bid again.
How often is it? And how long, okay. No, you know, on the EPO, like even so it's running in the negative now, in the long run, you're saying it's better actuarially, exactly, and I think then it also gives us a chance to offer another option. to our
Absolutely, yeah,
employees.
and that's the thing, we don't have to interrupt the benefits of those employees who are on it by looking at changing that right now. So,
Can we put new people on that if they want to be on?
right now, yeah, absolutely,
Right,
yeah.
right.
Yeah, there's no changes to it
It's
at all
another
right now.
option, even though it's not used maybe as much. Isn't it the lowest used one we have?
It is, we're down to, let's see, I have that somewhere here. 23% of our employees enrolled in that one.
Oh, it's 23 then, okay.
Yeah.
I didn't think it was.
Yeah, 32 are in the PPO and 45 in the HSA.
Okay.
So, and that number has kind of steadily dropped, look, because there's an employee cost to it as well, because it's a buyout plan essentially.
Right, all these plans work with how much they want to throw in or not
Right,
throw in, correct? Besides what the benefits may be.
Right.
Up or down. Okay, well, great, but it's great having another option, especially if it's really not costing us any money.
Yeah, that's what I say, is we'll continue to monitor it, but right now, it doesn't make sense to, like I say, disrupt that benefit for employees and take it away, so. Any other questions? All right, the next item on the agenda is the quarterly investment report. I'll go over that briefly. Kind of to go back and give some history here, we actually have invested a significant portion of funds this year because in previous years, everybody was paying 0.15% interest, and it really didn't matter where we housed our money. And the way our funding works is we are very front-loaded early in the year. I always tell people it's kind of like Dad give you all your allowance money in January and said this has got to last through December, and then come back and see me next January. And that's kind of the way it works. With the majority of our funding will come in January and February. So we've worked to analyze that with some people, and so we entered into some investments this year. and really have done really well. Right now, or at the end of September 30th, our average monthly rate that we were drawing on our money was about 5.26%. At that point through the year, we've realized about $420,000 in profit on our investments this year. There are two fixed rate investments that one was coming due October 31st and one is coming due here November 30th. We're just rolling those into the liquid series. We can access those funds at any time, wire transfer it. It's very simple, very easy. In fact, we've pulled some of that back here recently from the liquid series because we were ready to start utilizing some of that money here towards the end of the year. The liquid series is paying 4.6% today. So we're continuing to really see some nice gains from that money rather than having it sit, not doing any work for us. Probably by the end of the year, we're going to be a little over 500. We're going to be over 500,000 for the year in what we bring in our investments. So it's $500,000 we didn't have before. It's $500,000 that we can utilize in other ways. So that is with the operating account. We also have a little over $2 million from the healthcare trust. We have also put it in some investments too. Its average monthly rate at the end of the month was time and dollar weighted average portfolio yield was 5.256. So it is doing well also. It's realized a little over $26,000 in gains since the first of the year, since during this calendar year. Some of that is we obviously didn't have as much invested there as we had with the operating fund, but we're starting to see some of that, and we're rolling some of that into the liquid fund as well. So those two areas, I feel like we're being very fiscally responsible by looking at being able to actually create some more funds while we have those funds sitting until we need them. So, any questions about that?
When you say investments, what does that mean?
We are limited by policy in what we can invest in, and really treasury bills and treasury bonds is what we're in. Very, very safe, limited. Yeah,
Right.
I can't go out and buy IBM stock or anything like that.
Right. Yeah.
There is a very narrow type of security that we can invest in.
I guess I wasn't aware that the school district was able to do that.
Yeah, and again, it's something that districts, we really haven't done for years because it wasn't paying any interest. It didn't matter where it was at. So
I got you.
because of the way interest rates are now, it made sense for us to start looking at that as a potential.
Yeah.
Again, like I say, our funding comes in heavy at the front of the year. So a lot of that money we won't need until October, November, December. So
Yeah. Cool.
any other questions, comments? All right. Next thing, November board agenda. Let me shuffle a couple papers here. There are three things on this month's agenda. Just want to make the committee aware of. We try to bring stuff to you that we think is worth discussion, and anything that's over $50,000, we do our best to make sure that we bring that to you first. Obviously, there may be some things, if there's an emergency repair or something like that, we might not be able to, but we try to bring that to you every time. So there are three items that reach that threshold this month, and one is some bids on the Pear Street warehouse cooler rooftop generator replacement, and then a Pear Street backup generator. Casey is here, Casey Hausman's here. I'm gonna let Casey talk about those two items. Just kind of give a brief overview and how those bids come in.
Sure. Yeah, our current state that we're in, the units are about 13 years old. The building was originally designed to hold -20. It is not capable of doing that. So now our units, we can hold -10, so we're way oversized. What that does is it causes constant short cycling, constant repair issues, a lot of downtime. I mean, currently we're down one unit, so we lost a third of our capacity. If we were to lose one more, we would have to look at storage elsewhere. The current new system would be designed with the smaller units, to where if we lost one portion of the system, we'd lose basically a sixth of it rather than a third. They're smaller units, easier for repairing, easier for, not near as much for replacement cost. And the longevity of it is much more. And these are a little different than like in a normal cooler and freezer in your school. These units run 24/7, 365 days a year. In your school, we tear those down, service everything, all of the summer for 3 months. We're not capable of doing that with these current ones yet. That gives us a little more leeway with the new systems to allow us to do a little more service as well. And the backup generator, we currently do not have a backup generator. So if we were to have a power outage or a major outage of any sort of storm, we have about 7 to 8 hours of time before our freezers would lose temp. And then basically every portion of food for the entire district would be in jeopardy at that point. That's the reason for a backup generator to be added.
And this is something we've kind of planned on and knew that this is something we needed to go towards. And
So we
so,
looked at some different options.
Yeah.
We had some other companies bid it for us, and it was just $750,000 at that time. And it was just astronomical for us to be able to do that at that moment. Currently, we did everything engineered in-house. Our current bid, I don't have the paper in front of me, I believe for the generator. Perfect, okay. So for the equipment for all the whole entire system minus the generator, it was $176,000. For the generator itself, which is a Generac generator we specifically specified for, and it was $130,000 for the backup generator.
and I'll point out, there were 9 companies that we reached out to
Yes.
on the first bid, and 2 companies did return bids, IHP and Key Refrigeration.
Yeah, those are the-
IHP was $182,000, Key was $176,536, so that's the bid that will be recommended to the board. And then on the generator, Echo was the only one that submitted a bid for that RFP, and it was $130,350. So we'll be bringing both of those items to the board for their approval.
You did those same 9 for the backup generator?
Well, the other one, and I'm not sure about
It was
that.
the same ones that
Same group?
required about it. For some reason, they only put 2 on there, but
Okay,
Okay.
yeah, there's only 2. Actually, Echo was the only one that actually bid on that one.
yeah. So yeah, I mean, we advertised, reached out, and so,
And we had companies from Virginia, all over, so it was kind of nice to actually get some outside competition, just to,
yeah.
On the generator or on the other stuff?
on both.
Let's see. So you said they were 13 years old?
Correct.
Is that about the time we bought that?
Roughly in that area, yes.
Yeah. A red tag piece of junk building, yeah. I remember how much money we gave for it too. Inside deals.
Mr. Reader likes to point out the mistakes of the past. No one's disagreeing with you,
No, I know.
but we're
I
playing
don't
the
complain
game
unless I
of
got the facts.
But yeah, this is a problem that we have continued to Band-Aid as long as we can, and needs to be dealt with right, so. So yeah, we've budgeted and planned for it this year, and so that's something we'll be asking for your approval on Monday night. The other item that will come to you Monday night that's a little bit larger is purchase of some diesel equipment tools. This is really part of what's going on with the expansion at Hilliard. And so Jill's not here tonight to talk about it. I think she'll be there at the board meeting if there are questions. But there's a long list of Snap-on tools. This equipment purchase is just a little bit over $75,000, $75,3369. There's state funding that is earmarked for this equipment purchase. And so, and it is single source because it's Snap-on. We want to keep consistent equipment and everything, and so single source, but also they have a state contract with us as well, so, or with the state, as an educational dealer, so. Yeah, this money will become from HB2 that was appropriated to Hilliard for equipment and renovations, so. So, working on that process of getting that up and running, so this is one more step in that, so.
That's good, it's a good program.
Yeah, it'll be great, be great.
And there wasn't a bid because, again, the state has the bid on this, and so, okay.
And it's really, it's a sole source because it's all Snap-on equipment. Snap-on only comes from the dealer. And they are certified as an educational dealer with the state of Missouri, so they're registered. Yeah.
I'm not even
Like
sure.
or not like that, that's,
You know, I'm
yeah.
not even sure who Snap-on's competition would be, if there's anything else.
Well, and that was what the issue becomes, yeah, is that,
Not their level with their warranty and longevity.
Right.
yeah.
Did you say you heard of any?
MTC, Mac Tools, stuff like that would be their competitions.
All right, and those are the only items, as far as anything over 50,000 that's going to be requested to be purchased on the board agenda coming up. Okay. The last thing on the agenda, budget amendment. We'll be bringing a budget amendment to the board for approval this month, and it's good news. Our original budget that we presented was looking at approximately a $7.4 million deficit. We had estimated very conservatively on some revenues, especially the classroom trust fund. There's also some additional money with some ESSER funds and everything. We just weren't sure how they would come in. But we're still going to be showing a deficit budget, but instead of 7.4 million, we're looking closer to 5.6 million now. And so that's a lot better. It's still not the direction we would like to be, but I take 7.4 or 5.6 over 7.4 any day. And really our amendment, we have some increased expenditures. We're increasing our expenditures on the budget by about 4.3 million. Some of those areas we talked about, but we're also increasing our revenues by about 6.2 million. So that's where the majority of that's going to be from. We had anticipated a fund reserve balance at 23.46%. Now we think we'll be a little bit over 24%, 24.01. So again, there's still some conservative numbers in this. We'll likely come back to you again in March or April with another amendment. And again, the reason we do the amendments is that we want to continue to keep an eye on things, and as we know more, have a better idea of how things are going to end up for the year, we like to be able to give the board the most accurate projections moving forward. So this is an update from then, and again, it's a positive update, so we're glad about that. Any questions or concerns about that? All right. That is the last thing I have on the agenda tonight. Any questions, concerns about anything on the agenda tonight?
Yeah, Rob, I just want to confirm with you, with everybody here, that we're going to do this on a regular day from here on, right?
It is going to be this Tuesday. However, this falls, what, the third Tuesday of the month?
Is that what it is, Don? It's third Tuesday?
Yeah.
Okay, third Tuesday from here on.
It's normally second. I think we got something.
Right, I thought that's why we moved it this time.
It has to fall on the third because the board, it's going to fall on the Tuesday after board agenda items are due.
Yeah,
So it's driven by when the board
it's
meeting
driven
is.
by when the agenda is reviewed.
Yeah.
for-
So the same day of the agenda review, it will always be that evening, that afternoon.
Oh, I see, okay.
It's always a Tuesday.
Yeah, it will always be a Tuesday. Yeah.
But because the board meeting shifts because of holidays and everything else, especially this time of year.
No, I,
Now, next month, I will tell you this, next month, we are going to, once we get the bids in for the RFP on transportation, we're going to ask people back to present, and that's what we're going to use this meeting for next month. So
What date is that gonna be, Donna?
the 12th, yeah, December 12th.
December 12th?
Yeah. So that evening, we probably really won't have an agenda like this because we will use this time for those companies to present.
Yeah, good, good.
All right, any other questions? All right.
Good job.
Do I adjourn this or does Kenny adjourn this?
It's just adjourned.
We're adjourning. How's that?
Donna does it.
It's over.
What Donna says goes. End of story.